Hello. It's been a little bit of time since I did one of these videos, and I guess I'm just doing one now because I'm inspired to do so. So I guess that's why I haven't done some in a while, because I haven't been inspired to do so. Right now, I am speaking to you from a hospital room, but don't worry, I'm not sick. I am tired, but I'm not sick. I'm just on call right now at a hospital, and it's funny. This morning, I was praying, which I usually do for the patients before I try to go out and meet with them. And for some reason, I was thinking about I work in a hospital where it's predominantly Catholics, and for some reason, this morning I was thinking about Mary, Jesus' mother, and I I don't know why. I've been very conscious of how little I know about um, the Catholic reverence for Mary, and I know what I was taught when I was a child with regard to it. In as much as we, I was raised that it was an improper reverence, but I'm the type of person, I don't judge what I don't know, so I just kind of left it in the realm of, well, I don't know and I don't understand it. But this morning I was praying in the chapel, and it's a Catholic chapel, so I was looking at Mary, and I was kind of thinking about, you know, what little I do know about the reverence of Mary, and there's some things in our tradition, like the virgin birth and stuff like that, that I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I understand it, because I'll be lying, but I do have the ability to say, hey, look, I don't get that, but I know that's what they teach, and I'm gonna leave it over here. And if it's revealed to me to understand it, then I will, and if it isn't, I won't. But I can't figure everything out about everything anyway, so I don't put that kind of pressure on myself. But nonetheless, I was sitting there thinking about Mary, and then I just imagined, what if I was a girl? What if I were a girl in that time, and I really did find myself pregnant by nobody, by a spirit, by God, or however people express it. Just what if? I'm not talking about scientific facts or whatever the case may be, but just what if? And then I had to go tell my partner the situation in a time where people, would be throwing rocks at me if that were my situation. And I started thinking, man, what kind of burden would it be for that person if they knew they were telling the truth? If they were absolutely like, I'm innocent, I didn't do any kind of cavorting, or whatever the word is. I just ended up pregnant by some miracle, and that's the situation. I mean, it'd be bad enough in this time if someone in 2014 came up pregnant and wasn't married or anything like that, and people were judging them when they were young, or whatever the case may be. But imagine if the person said, hey, I actually did not have sex, I'm just pregnant. Nobody would believe them. And even if they even thought about believing them, they would do things like scientists would cut them open and do all kinds of crazy stuff to try to figure out what the deal was with the person. If they did have a boyfriend or something, they probably wouldn't believe them, and they'd have to go through all this stuff. I started thinking, like, what kind of burden would it be to be innocent of a crime and have no way in the world to verify it, to just walk around with that burden with people thinking all that stuff about you and only you knowing that you're telling the truth? That'd be rough. And then what if that person even knew that the child that they were going to give birth to was destined for the kind of destiny that we're taught that Jesus had? And what if they knew that from the beginning? Then what kind of burden would that person carry? And just the thought of it alone, I'm not going to lie, if I sat there and thought about it a little bit longer than I did, I probably would have started crying, because my eyes started tingling and stinging a little bit when I started imagining just like any person any young woman or something like that who ended up in a situation, and even if the person is actually does have sexual relations and is pregnant at a young age, and they did it for like because they want to be loved, or they want someone to love, all of those things like that happen. They're also carrying a burden of innocence. Because personally, I believe that every person comes into the world innocent. And I actually believe that everyone is still innocent. But our innocence becomes lost to ourselves because we get caught up in this like idea that we're not loved, this idea that we're not worthy, and then out of that false idea, we do a bunch of stuff to feel loved or to feel worthy or to remove ourselves from shame or guilt or our sense of aloneness. We put ourselves through a lot of things trying to make up for these false beliefs. And I mean, we develop those beliefs out of innocence. Usually, from what I've heard from a lot of people, they start thinking like that when they're a little child, when maybe their parents don't give them enough affection or attention, or they see a bunch of things that are painful and harmful to them, and they don't know how to deal with them. And they're innocent when that happens, and then they just do a bunch of other stuff from there. And they can't even tell their stories. Like a lot of us, we can't tell our stories either because we don't want to hurt other people, or if that's not the issue, other people just aren't interested. So, like, I just imagine, like, Mary, if she was just like, let me tell you what happened, and no one wanted to hear it, like, how painful that would be to be innocent and yet have no one to hear you. And I think the same thing about the people that I meet, people who are addicted to certain substances because they have so much pain, and then they end up, getting sick from these things, and the core is that they just might not feel loved, or they have a different way of seeing the world, and then they get diagnosed with something, or whatever. You never know. But the point is that I believe that we're all carrying this burden of innocence, and that we just don't know how to carry that burden well. And so, if Mary um, carried that burden well and endured and raised a child, and that child carried burdens as well, and was able to do it with some kind of consciousness. I mean, what kind of gift is that? So I'm just kind of rambling here, but I just want us to consider the burdens of innocence that we all carry, and perhaps we can give those burdens over to God or a higher power, as it's called in AA, or whatever the case may be, to just allow ourselves to rest from this burden and seek opportunities to rest. So, at any rate, my rambling is an invitation to rest. I'm kind of tired, so I kind of sound a little off while I'm saying it, but the invitation is still real. And, I'm keeping all of us in prayer. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for right now. Hope you get something out of this.